Call this meeting to order. Griggs County Commission, stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. John.
Here.
Dale.
Here.
Mark.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Troy's here. Okay, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Been moved by Dale to approve the agenda as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Minutes of the October 20th meeting.
Fourth paragraph, Chairman Olson opened the floor to discuss the District 3 Commissioner vacancy. Parties interested in fulfilling unexpired term, Joseph Dahlberg, Mark Earnest. For the two parties, you should probably say present rather than interested.
Okay.
And give the commission some information about themselves, that's fine. But probably just so we don't have interested twice there in the same sentence.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, it's just some, to make it easier reading, but I don't think it changes the content of it. The chairman also went forward to discuss road department information. It should maybe be issues prevalent to the road department or something in that order, but I don't think it matters much.
I just put whatever I had on the agenda. So.
Okay.
Information was the reimbursement request.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think we had a DOT letters or the.
And then I think he was probably requesting a Bob or something. I went and tried on the out.
I'd like to try one.
I didn't get one either.
You,
No, so we're in the same shape.
plus you got a Kubota.
It's a four-wheeler. Yeah. So I went and tried out one of those Bobcats. But I was denied also, so we're in the same boat.
So I'd move to approve the October 20th minutes as presented and dispense with reading.
You made one small correction, right?
Amended.
Huh?
As amended.
That's amended.
It's been moved by Dale to approve the minutes as amended and dispense with the reading. Is there a second? Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, move on to the bills.
On the bills, we got the system to be set up for your balance that you see to be the balance after these are written.
Right.
But the only thing with this is if you have two that are coming out of the same, they're going to show the balance as if only that one has come out. It's not going to follow all the way through. Do you want to see it that way, or do you want to see it the balance as of these have not been written?
I think we want to see it if what's
This-
supposed to be after this check is.
Okay. This is after it's been written, but if there's two, you're not going to see, it's not going to carry down is all. So I'll keep it this way, and hopefully it won't cause any confusions or anything, but
So I do have some questions on these. We're getting a lot of negative balances here.
yes.
Um,
A lot of these that are highlighted are just because they don't have a budget. Like the Annetta ambulance, we don't have a budget in there.
Understand.
Yep, those just,
But let's go through them then. Road
Okay.
repairs.
do we have reimbursements for that one? No.
There is no more Minetta ambulance, correct? I think they got disbanded.
Did they?
Yeah. So why are we still levying for it?
This would be past taxes,
Oh,
possibly.
okay.
Yeah, the amount is only $2.76.
Yeah.
Probably could have part of it been taken out of supplies.
Okay, I mean, you'll fix that then with the new budget. Garrison reversion, I understand that one.
Yep.
Tax 125 expense.
That's just a payroll expense that's in and out.
Yep. General miscellaneous.
That's miscellaneous in and out.
Okay. Payroll deduction, same thing.
Yep.
County agent special fund.
That's an in and out too.
That one we
Isn't it?
get.
Training.
That's for training and weed certification and stuff.
Courthouse, new courthouse.
New courthouse tax increase. We got this PFM is $500 more than what we had budgeted for.
Oh, that's it's an annual maintenance thing for the bonding
Yep.
documentation.
Yep.
Okay.
So they raised their price from 1,000 to 1,500, and we must not have known it at budget time.
They
Right.
must have raised their price from,
I thought,
Yeah, 'cause it's 1,000 over.
oh, it's 1,000 over. Okay, yeah, they went up 3 times.
so are we sure that's correct, or they,
The invoice says 1,500.
is there some fine print in the contract allows them to do that? So estate tax, domestic violence, 911, that's all in all accounts? Or not?
Domestic violence. I don't know if that. Yes, I think those are all in and out accounts. I'm pretty sure it's just like this, same as the siren expense or whatever.
Okay, so then the
Goes.
IT server BU,
IT server backup, IT server, and the computer software. Those are. Yeah, those are just going over, I guess.
okay, so who's in charge of that budget? Who put that, that's the general?
That's the general IT, yep. And then Travis gives us our invoices each month.
Hey, Wes.
Right, but I mean, who's in charge of that budget, setting it up? What department? Travis?
The IT? Well, yeah, he was here. Remember we?
Well, that's for this year, but I mean, for this budget
Oh.
we're over on.
Kind of helped with it. He can't really set up a budget because he's not a department head, but he can kind of give you guys a.
Give you the number.
So evidently the numbers were incorrect.
I can talk to him and maybe we've got the wrong accounts for those too.
Yeah. And then the Tyler Technologies, same thing, that's,
Tyler Technologies, we had a budget for it. That's for Kelly's stuff. And we usually have enough in there each year. I don't know, their prices must have went up this year or something. But yeah, we'll be over $421 after we pay that one.
Apparently we budgeted 2,500 for it, or we're right,
Right.
or 26, 26.
must be an odd amount. So the general, the server backup and the IT server, where are those checks written to? Who are they written to?
Travis. Tyler Techno or
TJ.
TJ's Electronics.
So what's it for, I guess?
The server and server backup.
Yeah, what,
We rent the spot in his rack.
Do you want this?
Oh, here it is. Okay.
Yep.
Rack rent, rack power, rack network, internet connection there in his shop. Labor. Apparently he had to buy 2 new monitors. There's some Dell monitors here. Did you get monitors in this building?
Wes got them.
Okay.
Yep.
And then a Samsung internal hard drive for Wes's laptop must have failed.
Yeah, I guess they crashed and put in a new one. Yeah.
So that's what that was. That was all those things made up that number.
Right, but I mean, were the monitors, was this something that failed, or were they just added on?
Something that failed.
Monitors failed?
They did?
I don't know.
The monitor, I had asked
They do.
if there was money in the budget for a new monitor, because I had a 13-inch small one.
Oh.
And it was getting hard to do all the civil stuff going back and forth.
The
looking at each one.
Desktop? The desktop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a screen for this.
And then, so I asked to see if there was more, or if there was money in the budget.
I don't
He
think it
said,
includes the buildings.
Sam said, yes, there was. And then, he said he was gonna wait until they're on sale, so we got them on sale. And then I was gone on Griggs, and he told me that when he was installing the computers, my hard drive took a dump. But I had been having problems with my computer anyways, because there was zero memory left on it or something like that, so it was running slow.
Oh, the RAM was full? Well, now the RAM can't get full.
He said something with the memory was at 0%.
But there wasn't money in the budget.
We have a computer line that had some money in there. Had enough money for these monitors.
Okay, so then how did we end up over with this, how did we end up over on the servers?
If you look on your expense report, there's line items or whatever, and so then the server line item is going over, but there was money in the computer line.
Okay, so the server line is over, and Travis was setting up the budget, and Travis is the one billing us for it. There's no way in the world that he couldn't have known he was gonna build us. How did we end up over on the server budget? How do we allow that when he's the one that set the budget, he's the one sending the bills out? But that isn't an unexpected expense when it's being billed back to him. So I suppose we've written these checks already.
Nope. If you want me to look into those, I can.
Yeah, I would like Travis to come and explain to us how a budget item can get over when he's the one in charge of the budget and he's the one doing the billing.
We can talk about it.
Yep.
No, Mark and I were talking about something else out in the hall.
Okay.
I know we had gone through these and made sure that they were coming out of the right accounts, and they weren't at first or whatever, so I got them all cleaned up, so it
Then
could
maybe
be,
that's the problem.
it could be
Maybe it
on,
needs to be cleaned
yeah,
up.
it could be on us, so I'll talk to Travis about that and
Yep.
get it all squared away for you.
Anything else? Is this water board or something? Any other questions on the bills?
too for the general IT budget.
Just
Been
the-
moved by Dale to approve the bills minus the TJ's electronics invoice. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark? Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Yeah. Monthly office reports. That next one, though, that's a water board.
Mm-hmm.
I got it from Jan.
You got it from Dale?
Jan.
Oh,
And I don't know how because she's resigned as well. So I don't.
oh, she did?
Yeah. Yeah. All Jan and Marla resigned.
Oh.
And so I don't know why I got this, but I did. So then she asked for me to bring it to you. I also got another report that said the water board might need this report as well, but I didn't know where to send it. So I kind of just held on to it. So.
She dropped off the checkbooks and everything?
No, I haven't got. I just got the keys to the post office box. I was told that everything else is still in that one building, in the back room or something. I was,
Okay, so we need to go get that stuff, I suppose.
yeah. I did contact Tom Dahl and kind of was talking to him about the mail, and he said to keep it. So I got that squared away with him. So.
Okay.
Did we find a third one?
I haven't heard back yet. Have you heard anything, Dale?
This budget is way, way, way underwater, guys.
The water board.
Yeah.
And you guys had asked me to tell the water board that you wanted it in a different format. I didn't even get that far, and they were gone. So it was. Then I got this, and I'm like, well, it's not. It's kind of in the same format that you didn't want it in before. So.
See, there's.
So every count's negative except for 3.
Mm-hmm. And what's under general, what's the dues, I wonder, under general expense?
$20,000?
First time I've seen that in any of these,
Oh, that's that Upper Cheyenne thing that they were gonna drop out of, isn't it?
No, that was like 8,800, and that's, I think that covered multiple years besides. Because they pay like 3 years out of whack, then you get,
Sometimes.
what's that?
Get a discount?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it's a discount because then if you pay, it's like a mill or whatever a year. So then a mill would be less that year. Something. So then you would have to pay what a mill is worth the next year, and the next year is what I kind of understood.
any of the bureaucracy can take your money and tell us you're doing a favor by giving you a discount.
Unreal.
This is really I mean, this is the first time I've seen this format here, but if you want to go through this, look at the general expense, the dues. We don't know what that is, I assume. I don't know what that is. But then
But the budget was 4,300 and they spent 25,000.
correct, and then, so then we go to the next one, the Griggs County Water Board, meeting expense, 20,000, mileage, 3,000, accounting, 2,000. Then go to the next one, investigation, meeting, 1,000, mileage. On to the next one, meeting, 1,200, mileage. Silver Creek, meeting, 1,800, mileage, 400. On and on. TBO4, meeting, $4,000, mileage, 175. Next one, Every one of these was being charged labor basically by the committee that was overseeing them. Cooper Drain meeting, accounting, every one of them, meeting. Pickerel Lake.
What's that? I've never
$7,000.
seen that on there before.
Never seen that before. What is it?
Pickerel Lake. I know what it is just because I just got filled in when I asked.
Hope it's not next to your house.
It's a mile west of Annetta.
The Tandy Dam or whatever? Isn't that west of Annetta?
South and west.
Yeah. Down in the bottom there.
It's not the Tandy Dam, but it's the Tandy Dam is a little reservoir
Yeah.
south of Pickerel. This is it's a lake that's gotten big like a lot of them, especially up in that country in the last 25 years. And the Nelson County Water Board, the Griggs County Water Board, and the local farmers agreed each to pay a portion of this, cleaning a drain that hadn't been cleaned for 25 years or something. So I'm talking to Fred Lukens, that's what the whole deal was anyway. So they hired a contractor to come in and clean that all the way from like a half a mile west of Fred Lukens' yard and a half a mile south. And it kind of goes kitty corner to the southwest all the way down to like, oh, who lives there? God, I can't remember who lives there right now.
No,
Tim
I know
Zickert?
where it's at.
No. Anyway, and then it goes back to the southeast until it hits that creek right by Dean Austenson's there.
That comes across the highway then.
Yep. And then goes to the river. But there's about, God, it must have been 4 or 5 miles that they track code.
Oh, boy.
And so, for whatever reason, our water board agreed to pay a fourth of the bill, Nelson County paid a fourth of the bill, and the local guys paid half of it. And in my estimation, the local guys should have just paid for it all. I don't know why we were involved. Now, the general taxpayers of Griggs County got to help 3 guys get water off their land. I don't think that's the way we're supposed to operate, but that's why we ended up in loggerheads with the water board.
Unless there's a road that's being impacted or something like that.
It's still the landowner's responsibility to clean the drain going through their property.
They lowered a culvert, but that was the only thing that I saw that had anything to do with the road. But that wasn't a county road, that was just township road. Like, who lives right there by that culvert that they lowered?
Oh, it's, Huso used to live there. I don't remember who's there now.
Yeah.
One, somebody on the east
Scott
side of
Huso
that-
lives there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who lives there.
Scott Huso lives by the blacktop.
So anyway.
Anyway, whatever.
Whatever.
So it was a $28,000 bill, and Griggs County spent $4,000 on that, cleaning that drain. Well, that ain't the county's job. There's a lot of guys that clean their own drains.
So the long and short of it is here, out of an $83,000 budget for 2017, there's already been $140,000 spent, and 57,000 in the red.
On paper, but they had the cash to do it.
Yes, but the way the century code reads, and not that this is ever going to have legal action taken, the only way you can use that money is if it's left over, it was appropriated beforehand for a specific project, and if you look at their budgets, they weren't.
Right.
All taxpayer.
So they basically have tapped into the general tax fund and are using general tax dollars for the betterment of a select group of people, and you can't do that. And hopefully the next water board doesn't do that.
You can do it. You can do it. It's just not right.
Yes, you can do it if you were able to get the budget approving that through the county commission.
Right.
So yes, you could do it.
Yeah.
But they didn't get the budget approving this through the county commission.
Depends on how long the balances have been out there.
No, it still would have had to go through there with this pickerel lake on a previous budget.
Yeah, that.
You can only spend money that's been budgeted for a specific purpose.
So, anyway, that's water.
Under the bridge.
Down the creek.
Down the
I might say.
pickerel bridge. So Dale, what does that do to the balance and overall? Has this been reflective in the balance in the checkbook?
They haven't sent me a balance.
The last we saw was $134,000,
Yeah,
I think.
so I don't know if that's reflective in that or not.
Well, if they've turned everything in, so we need to go get some bank statements, and then we need to change the addresses on the checking account so they start coming to the courthouse.
Absolutely, and that was,
Right.
but
You haven't contacted the banks?
I haven't done anything.
the first thing that needs to be done is a meeting of the new water board members, because the county commission can't do that. So they need to at least have a meeting and instruct somebody what to do.
Choose a majority, so.
Yeah, choose a majority.
Okay.
And their schedule, or their meeting schedule is like next week on
On the 8th,
on
isn't
their
it?
yearly schedule next week.
Are they gonna have one?
I talked to Tom about it,
Okay.
so I don't know.
I have a board meeting on the 8th in Tolna, so I probably won't be there.
Yeah, and Dale.
Yeah.
Dale can do
He'll
it.
be there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll be
that's.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Anything
just
else?
have to leave it in their hands and see what becomes of it.
I move to approve the monthly office reports with the exception of the water board report.
You're not gonna approve that one? Been moved by Sean to approve the monthly our office reports with the exception of the water board report. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Wayne,
I have quotes for windows and the doors in the county shop. First one is cash and carry lumber in Rockford. The top 3 pages there are the windows, and then they also did a quote for the doors. And then I also have from Lumber Mart, Stone. These are just the 5 windows.
So the two figures that you gotta put together here are the ones in writing, the 5850 and
See, the top page is the labor, and
You put it in there.
yep, but
Where's the doors?
that's the doors down there. The windows are right here.
Oh, there's the windows.
There's the windows with the labor added on the second page.
Also, the 17 is the whole thing.
17 is just the doors and the labor. But the 5850 added it onto the,
On the,
so I shouldn't have made them together. These 3 pages are for the windows.
The top 3, right?
Yep, the top 3 are the windows. So that's what we'd consider first now is the
And so it's the 58 and the 32?
No, it's
1100.
17,464 plus 3231.
the 1100 is the labor on the door, or on the windows. Plus here's the price of the windows, so it's a total of 3271.39. Their Minn Kota window. Because the labor is done by Keith Sanger and the windows come from Cash and Carry. And then that 50
58
is
part
for
of the
putting-
17.
Yep, that's for putting the doors in for controllers. Windows from Lumber Mart are Silver Line. They're all sliders. Single. And that includes labor in that 2532.78 for Lumber Mart. That's with Scott Fredrickson's labor. And the cash and carry is 3271.39.
And what kind of doors are they? It's over right here.
Midland?
Midland.
Well, the cash and carry ones are Midland.
Yep, but I've got other ones here.
Oh, you got it.
What's the lumber mart deal?
Just the windows.
That's just the
Or
windows
it's
and
just the
labor.
window.
Oh,
And labor.
And labor, yep.
And they're comparable windows?
5 windows, I don't know, Silver Line. Cash and carry said Minn Kota was top of the line, so. If we just look at the windows first, then we'll go to the doors, yes.
well, when I look at these 2 estimates, I say the lumber mart one is half done. Or what?
Well, if you're just comparing window to window, it's what, $700 difference?
I know, but look at all the line items that they have on that one from the Rockford and the lack line items on the other one. It's like they're not gonna quite get the job done.
Well, is this a firm bid or is this a quote? Let me see.
I don't know, is any bid firm?
This is, well, the lumber mart's an estimate.
Well, bids are firm, estimates are.
Well, I
These are
guess,
quotes, so.
yeah, so we propose to furnish the following materials to the above-named party and only what appears on this estimate. Any other materials ordered will be an additional charge. Clerical errors are subject to correction. Sales tax is not included unless so stated.
Right.
I guess we need to know if this is an installed price.
Yeah, that's including the labor,
Lester, is this?
yes.
Yeah, but half the material's not on there if you compare the 2 estimates.
Right, but I don't know, I mean, maybe it's included with the labor bid. You can't get the windows in without using nails and everything else. I would think.
Yeah, most of the difference is just nails. Because the trim is all on here. Just I got it worded differently here.
It's hard to base it on quality when you don't know. Silver line windows, high quality vinyl that never chips, peels, cracks, or works. Lifetime.
Is Les in, please?
He is visiting with a customer. Could I ask him to call?
John Wakefield.
Oh, John, I never I cannot recognize your name and your voice. I am so sorry.
Just ask him one question. If this bid for the windows in the county shop is a firm bid with all materials needed to complete the task.
Okay. I'll either have the conversation.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Now, thank you.
You can be on the township board and not live in the township.
No.
Okay.
Les, John. I'm in the county commission meeting here. I'll sign you in.
No.
This bid for the
only thing
windows
I
for
really
the
can always-
county shop, that's a bid for all,
Just like
everything
in
needed to
Harlem
install them,
and
correct?
The Cooperstown.
That's a firm bid. Okay. Thank you.
Because the township line.
Bye.
And you are in the township, but not in the district.
They aren't, they weren't ever broke down into districts. You know, the township as far as areas.
Oh, sure.
No.
Okay, yeah, sure. So you are in Cooperstown Township. Okay. So that don't matter.
Wow. Technicality. Same thing they did for Harlan. Did it for 40 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But technically, he is in
Yeah,
Cooperstown Township.
yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
By a whisker.
Yeah. When I kill and get in the pickup, I'm out. But when
Yeah. Walking the line right down the middle.
Yeah.
Now I'm in, now I'm out. Old fence sitter.
Yeah, yeah.
So are you parking on the grape guy's yard there then when you park over there?
I'm allowed 32 feet from the center of the road.
Did you measure it?
Yeah, I got permission from him.
He doesn't make any township decisions when he's on that side of the road.
That's right. That's right.
Though I thought maybe you bought a strip of land over there. So
So that's a firm bid with all materials.
okay, so there's not much decision then.
If you're gonna take the low bid, then lumber mark would be the one.
I'll make the motion, we accept Lumber's bid for the windows and labors for the county shop.
I'll second that.
Moved by John, seconded by Mark to accept the bid for the windows at the county shop from the lumber mart. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
Then we've got overhead door company. And PS doors, PS garage doors.
In Midlands on that one?
Yeah.
And there's another Midland too.
Oh, really?
I didn't get enough down there.
So they're all the 3-inch door, the way it looks.
They're all 3-inch doors.
So let's get to the price part.
And then we have Twin City garage door. All 3-inch doors.
I think, wow, those two guys are all almost the same.
You see?
Oh, there's 3-inch, somewhere. There's the winner.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Getting a little cold to drive that little buggy around
What's that?
Twin City Garage.
Oh. I suppose if we accept their bid, they'll bring it up there and give us a ride in it.
That extra, they don't.
I need to go on the-
Twin City's the cheapest one?
Looks like it.
Any Wayne, or do you see any discrepancies between the garage door bids?
I don't think so. One company makes their own doors, overhead garage door. I think they have their own door. This one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the one was Rainer for PS garage doors,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good door also.
So they're all using the side opener on them.
Yeah,
You see,
I think that's the side. I think
that's a side opener.
Okay.
I don't know, are all those, that they all bid?
I think the Twin City one's a chain.
Just got extra.
It is a chain drive, yeah. But it is a wall, it's a wall station opener, so it's a side opener. Chain drive, which is probably better, yeah.
I just
So
need
do you,
to-
Yeah,
do
right.
you see anything in the proposals to give any one of the
I didn't.
benefit?
I didn't see anything. The
Any reason to exclude any one of them?
I did requested lights in them. I call them lights for windows.
Mm-hmm.
In one row all the way across. Cash and carry, they didn't add it in there, but I added it on. And then I didn't see how many transmitters, receivers there was in that. On some of it's listed how many for each door. I think one of them had 2. But the one is quite a bit cheaper than 16,000.
Yep. Yep, you could probably buy quite a few openers, remote openers for the difference in price. So,
The PS garage door said that their opener was the best, of course. One of the competitors, he said the printed circuits and stuff go out of production in like 3 years, and it's hard to get parts for them, where he says theirs doesn't. But
the only time you believe it when they tell you one garage door is better over the other one, so when the competitor tells you that the other door is better.
yeah,
Then that's a real, that's the dawn of Brazil metaphor.
seems like they're all eager to get it, of course,
Sure they are.
you know.
But did any of them take you out for dinner?
They haven't yet. It was very hard to get the cash and carry, but now he did say we've got carpenters going to finish with a project here.
Yep.
in
Did you
one
talk to
week.
Jeff or Wayne?
I talked to Jeff.
Yeah. But they're not the low bid.
They're not the little bit. So.
What would be the timeline?
Well, they want to know as soon as they can so they can start on them, I guess.
What do we have budgeted? We had enough money in this year's budget. Yeah.
And of course, there's no electrical wiring involved in any of these quotes, and so
Because-
we have to get somebody to do that. I did talk to ASAP or Spettinger out of Valley, Haven't talked to Cody yet. But Aaron, I think, guess we come look at it, but he hasn't been there yet. So we don't know exactly, you know, where the lifts are going to be and stuff. So
Right now, are they on the rail or are they on the wall?
right now, we know we just got the chain.
Oh, it is chained, so.
What was the budget again?
40,000 in the building fund. So it looks pretty good.
So what's your preference?
I guess we'd go with the low bid.
I would think Twin City Garage knows how to put doors in.
Mm-hmm.
And what, you did say what that was, right, Midland?
That's the one, yep.
I'll make a motion to accept the Twin City Garage proposal of $16,439.
Second.
Been moved by Mark and seconded by Sean that we accept the Twin City garage door proposal to replace the doors in the county shop. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
So now, for next year, then it's just the siding and steel and insulation.
Did we agree for the?
Yep.
We did.
Cooperstown lumber. Or whatever it is, lumber mark.
Did you need them?
I don't.
She hadn't?
Oh,
Again.
I got some.
That's one for everyone?
I think so.
Okay.
oh, you're gonna stay here?
Nope. I'm done.
Okay, before you leave, somebody said there's a Ranger sitting in this garage out here. Is that yours?
Yep.
That's the weed department's?
Yep. I guess so.
Where was it before?
It's been in the shop, and then I think the last one here, I stored out at Brian Pfeiffer's, his shop. Didn't have enough space.
Is there a reason the weed department has a ranger?
Spraying.
Do you spray your, I thought they hired that out?
Not
They
anymore.
just
No,
spray
not
the
anymore.
counties then, or?
Yeah,
We're supposed to, we haven't.
haven't got
But-
any.
but they- the
Does it have
Ranger-
mo- Does that thing have 0 miles on it?
No, we've used the Ranger. We've sprayed some bridges and stuff, around bridges and stuff
Oh.
with the Ranger. Fill some of the stuff around the guardrails and.
But it was purchased
Lot.
before you guys ever took over the weed department, right?
That was purchased before.
That was bought when, or after,
Joe was here.
right away quit doing it, right?
Yeah, that's what I always thought, it was right away it was doing it.
They don't do it anymore. They got too busy or something. I don't
It's
think,
actually,
they
it
didn't
actually
bid
was
on it.
purchased under the county agent, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. It
County
wasn't ever a
agent
weed
paid.
department.
Oh, wasn't it?
The department paid for like 4,000
Yeah.
and the county agent paid for the rest.
And you guys bought the trailer and stuff, right?
Yep, because they got a grant or something.
After the fact, but that thing's been here for 5 years.
Oh, it's been here longer than we have.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
Do we need it?
Yep, we need to. You're getting old, you can't get around it.
Yeah.
as you used to.
Yeah.
Right at the mail with
That's
it.
that one I've seen out on Addy fishing?
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
I was wondering if we could get tracks for it.
Yeah.
And a heated trailer.
Trade it in for a Kubota.
Yeah, traded in for, that Komodo is nice, that's got heat and everything in it.
Like that
one. Yeah.
Did you buy one?
Mhm.
Did you?
Like to buy one, but
Well, the
somebody's
reason,
got storage. I mean, we could certainly store it.
right, it doesn't really need to sit in a heated building, and
Oh,
we got these sheriff's vehicles running around all winter. It'd be nice to have someplace to run them in and let them thaw off once in a while,
yeah.
since we own this thing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And the lawnmowers can go in that shed over there underneath by the old, where they were, right?
He
Were
said
they
there was a
just
bunch
two
of stuff
riders?
in the way or something.
Move it.
Can't get in there with anything. Use that bobcat. No,
Anyway,
I don't know what's in the way there. I haven't looked at it.
I mean, that's next on the agenda. I kinda jumped the gun on West, but I saw you kinda heading for the door, so I figured we better get after it.
All right. Yeah, we can get out of there.
Okay,
I don't know about the lawnmowers and stuff. He said something about the blower, that it needs to thaw out, and he puts the blower over in the other.
the blower,
Building it
when you're
doesn't
using
fall.
a snow blower, that can be there. That's easy to
That can
move.
fit in there, and you can fit one tractor will still fit in there, and we can get a squad car in there.
Okay. I mean, they're not gonna park in there every day, cause they take them home, but
Right.
once in a while they.
Need to thaw, not thaw them out once in a while.
Yeah,
right.
or port, or, I don't know if we have.
I'd let them come and thaw it out in my shop, but I suppose they drink all my beer.
No, it's not my vehicle coming to stall.
All right,
All right, thanks, Wayne.
There you go.
Wayne.
Monday. Yep.
Is there room in the county shop for it in the corner somewhere?
Oh, when we got the blower and the tractor and stuff in there now, and then
Why don't you
Truck
bring
and
it
a
out?
pickup in
There's
there.
why don't you bring it out to the airport? There's a city-owned building out there
is there?
that I lease, but I mean, it can sit in there.
Okay.
That far southeast building. You just have to give me a call, or just park it in front of there and we'll put it in.
All right. Thank you.
Anything, Wes, you had other stuff?
Dale wanted me to update you guys on Bob's old pickup.
Oh, yeah.
It had, I guess before Bob retired, it was in the shop a couple of times. And when we found that marijuana grow, I used it to haul stuff out of there. And the light came back on, so I took it over there, and they said, "Oh, it's just probably missing." Okay, so I hear back, yeah, it's just missing, but we're gonna do some more tests on it. And they took it out and they beat on it a little bit, and the light came back on. And what it ended up being was a soft camshaft. They rounded it out, and there was a metal flake in the oil pan, so I had to get a new engine in it. It's not under warranty, but Chrysler's gonna put in 3,200. The whole project's just under $7,000, so our share would be just under $4,000.
Yeah, that's what he told me.
So it's gonna be a brand new.
Sorry.
engine?
Yeah. Probably a remand, or I have no idea.
Short block.
Well, for $7,000, it better be a new one, you would think, wouldn't you?
Well, a short block's a new one. It just won't have might not have some of the accessories on it.
Well,
Generators, starters, all that.
intake manifold and stuff, probably we could switch over from the old one.
Mhm.
Okay.
We already went over the garage. That's
So you'll be over a little on your maintenance budget.
maintenance budget will be over. I think there's $3,000 in there right now, and then my car had some work that needed to be done on it, so that bill hasn't come yet.
Oh.
I had a check engine light come on. It'd been on before I hit the deer. It was gonna get fixed, and then I hit the deer, so that backed it up. But
There's some money in the general fund for emergencies that we can transfer. We'll just straighten it up at the end of the year. Get you
Yeah.
something else.
I called Dale, and I just wanted to give him a heads up, and I guess he had already talked to Jeff, so just wanted to tell you guys. I know how to get it fixed anyways, so.
No, that's the correct way to do it. Just let us know.
So if the Ranger's out of there, you'll be able to work around everything then?
I think well, they got 2 John Deeres in there and then that Ranger in there. This summer when it was raining, we had court, and we brought someone in. We just moved turned one of the John Deeres. There was only one in there before. We put it against the counter there, 'cause it's not used, it's still piled with a bunch of stuff, and we could still fit vehicle in there. So if the Ranger and the a mower goes out, I think we'll be all right, and there'll still be room. I think they have a snow plow or a blower that they put in there. That'll fit.
Yeah. Just tell them.
There's
Just have Wayne bring the tractor and the Ranger out to the airport, we'll put it in that city building.
There's no reason it can't be shared.
No.
We'd be all right on that.
Okay.
And then Dale also wanted me to talk, I gave a conditional offer to, Amberly Michaelis, Daryl's niece. She's gonna be a good asset to the department and the community. She's got a master's degree. She's got 6 years of experience down in Florida at Almond Beach. She's a sergeant down there.
Really?
She wants to come back up.
So she's from Minneapolis then?
Painesville?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did her dad just pass away?
No, did he? Because he was just in my office the other day.
Oh, okay. No, that was his. It was his brother.
Oh, brother.
There's 2 of them down there.
Yep,
Daryl, you said, right?
Daryl's
Yeah.
niece.
Yeah.
Daryl's got 2 brothers down in Minneapolis.
Jimmy just died.
Jim just passed
Yeah,
away.
it's,
Yeah.
Randy?
No,
No, he's the one that runs the lumberyard down there.
her brother's taken over the lumberyard, I think.
Yeah. No, her dad's still alive.
Yeah,
Jimmy,
'Cause he-
her
he
uncle
shot.
just died.
Yeah, he just stopped in.
Okay. What's his name?
She's coming up today for a psych test. There's a little bit of a period. She's got to pass a psych and background that the state does. And then she'll be good to go.
She gonna live at the farm, or she gonna?
Yep, she wants to. That's why she wants to move up here.
Really?
I talked to her, and I was like, "Are you sure this is what you want?" Because, I mean, for myself, it's expensive to hire a deputy, and I just
Right.
she's basically, the way I see it, overqualified. But if she wants to come bring something to the community, come bring it. But I just don't want her to leave. But talk to her, and she wants to come up here and run that farm on 22 and.
How'd you find her?
She applied.
She found you.
I got a guy from Alabama that applied too. I don't know how he found it.
Wonders is modern technology. Surprising the stuff you can find online.
If I was in Alabama, if I was a police officer down there, I'd probably want to get here too. I mean, talk about the change of environment.
I'll be training videos of what not to do. We're all down south.
All right. Jim.
Well, good then.
Very good.
Well, thanks, Russ.
Anything else, Wes?
That's all I have.
Thank you. Plumber came and got the building from Stinkin'?
Yeah, that wasn't from that pipe that was coming out of the floor. I came in that day. It was coming from the traps.
Oh, the traps were dry?
Mhm.
Okay.
I wouldn't think that pipe would have got bad all of a sudden, just like.
No,
Well,
I mean, that thing probably had been there all the time,
Yeah.
but it probably could have got worse when they opened the sheetrock up, but,
No, that sheetrock had been open.
It'd been open
for a
for a
long time. We've had a couple, like, in the shower that,
well, I'm sure anything that doesn't get used.
It stinks sometimes, and we put water in there, but I don't know why that day it just got really bad.
If you pour about a cap of mineral oil on top of the water.
That's what the plumber said.
Unless there's something in there, sometimes there's something that's sticking up in a trap and then it won't seal on it. And
But there's so many traps in this building, and I'm sure there's lots of them that don't get used very often.
Mhm.
Our house is the same way.
Yeah, I came in and it was bad.
All right. Thanks, Wes.
Yep, thank you.
Social Services Collaborative Agreement. Didn't we just sign this in the meeting the other day?
Yeah, but I think it had room in our spot for the.
We're sharing a director and a social worker with Nelson County.
Yep.
That's what this is for. Imagine
Nope.
for 2 months.
That went away.
It fell apart before we got in,
Yep.
and they hired Sia to be the director here. Marcia Bigelow was doing both. And I don't know what happened. It kind of was all done when we got here.
Kind of fell apart, I think, in probably late 2012.
Huh?
It was sometime in 2012, I think.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter.
2012.
Anyway, the long and the short of it is they hired Sia. Marshall went to Nelson County. Here a couple months ago, Sia resigned and went to the hospital as a social worker. And so when we went back to Nelson County and talked to those guys, and their director thought it was a good idea. We talked to her. We thought she was...
Marsha again?
No, it's Mary Langley is the lady's name. She lives west of Warwick. She's married to Jim Langley. She's kind of sort of my age, maybe a couple years younger. But she really seems like she's got her act together, to me. And, you know, it's only been a little while, but if this works out, it is, I think the end goal is to form a district instead of having county offices.
Sure.
So, with that said, Jamie must have drawn these up, or are these kind of somebody's template, or what?
Mary and I worked on it. Mary did the majority of it, but I've seen it and worked on it with the meetings.
So it's an agreement to share services between the counties and social service director, home and community-based services, case manager, and a social worker supervisor position between Nelson and Griggs County. And then inter-county agreement, home and community-based services, social work, same kind of thing, right?
We sign the 3 inter-county agreements with Nelson County Social Services.
I'll second.
Been moved by Sean, seconded by Mark to approve the share agreements between Griggs County and Nelson County for social service director, home and community-based services, case manager, social work supervisor, home and community-based social worker, and social worker. Is there any discussion?
What's the length of time of the agreement?
12 months, starting August 15th.
It gets renewed every year, and I think it's 30 days. They notice 30 days prior to that end of the agreement for termination. The 30-day notice for termination at any point, I think it is.
August what?
15th.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, it would make it tight in the budget if for some reason.
It fell apart.
It would make it pretty tight in the budget to try to get.
Well, they'd have to let us know by July 15th,
So, yeah,
pretty close.
yeah, it'd be okay.
And I worked on it with Mary. I guess Mary started drafting it before I had permission from both commissions to work on it, so she did the majority of it. But I've looked through it and I wanted to get personal that I worked with both counties, but I think that it's appropriate.
You think we could have a little bit, like a 45-day notice?
It says here that they will let us, if there's something, if us or if either county wants to change the agreement before going forward, we need to notify by June 1st.
Okay, that's fine.
It says on the paragraph on the
Okay.
second page
I
there.
didn't read that. That's fine.
Okay.
Then we can have.
Okay. Is there any more discussion?
Budget.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Aye.
Sean? Troy votes aye. Motion carried.
Who seconded that motion?
Mark did.
Thank you.
What do we got? We should talk, I think David wanted to visit with us a little bit today. He's got a couple little pieces of info regarding our fine county.
So I'd make a motion we amend the agenda.
Oh, son of a gun. That was my
For the
bad.
purpose of adding David to the discussion.
Been moved by John to add the tax director to the agenda.
Second.
Seconded by Sean. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, sorry about that.
So big.
You guys are much more familiar with this process than me, but got a letter from NDSU requesting our acreage for ag land for both cropland and non-cropland. And what I kind of discovered through running the report through Dakota programs is that the acreage that has been used for Griggs County in the past, that it looks like they've been using higher acreage of cropland versus what the report shows, and a lower amount of cropland that non-cropland actually should be a much higher figure. So what that means in practice for the county is that since cropland is a lot more valuable than non-cropland, if you revise those figures right now as the report stands, that the average acre per value in Griggs County would drop quite a bit. A rough preliminary estimate is about $55 an acre or so. Right now I'm trying to verify whether those numbers are correct before I submit them to the state. I'm working with the Dickey County tax director to verify those numbers, and then he's going to help me there's a memo that's given by the state every year about how those soils break down and how those values are calculated, so that before I'm sure and I verify these numbers and submit them to the state, that I'd be able to give you guys an idea of what sort of impact that's going to have for the county if these values are lowered in terms of what sort of true and full values and what the taxable values are going to be.
I wish you all the luck, but I'll tell you what's going to happen. They're going to deny it. We've pursued this on a trial basis 2 or 3 times, and
How so? No, to what degree?
As far as the number of agricultural acres, Ron has disputed that on a number, tillable acres on a number of times.
Okay.
And they always take preference to what was reported the prior year, rather than what's on our Dakota programs.
Okay.
Now that
So it's not what we tax people for, it's what's...
Well, in essence, we are taxing them for the acre, because it raises the value of the tillable, of the farmed acres, correct? Right now, we're raising the total value of Griggs County by what's in the system.
By what's by the NDSU report.
Right, yeah.
They're higher than it would be.
Okay, so that's been disputed, not by the tax director, but if it's been disputed, it's been brought to the tax department's attention on numerous times, and the answer was, we revert back to what you did in the past year, rather than going back any farther than that. But I hope you try it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to, I plan, like, barring, if I'm something change, I'll submit these figures and see what happens.
Good.
Say what,
50,000 acres difference.
I know.
One thing I might do as well is reach out to FSA office here in town to see if they have any countywide numbers.
They won't let you have it, I don't think. They might.
I think FSA will release those numbers.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. Because it's not an individual, it's a countywide thing, number you'll get.
Yeah,
maybe
it'll be interesting to see what
happens. We'll see how it goes.
Don't get discouraged.
I'll submit it, and then if there is a dispute between what the state says and what I'm saying, and then we see what numbers FSA has.
I think the 50,000 acres is probably in inundated land.
No,
it's the other way. Oh, no, right. Oh, it could be, but there can't be 50,000 acres of inundated land in there.
Oh, I think so.
But, well, even if it is, then it should be changed at NDSU.
It's most of it lies in shelter belts, right-of-ways, farmsteads,
abandoned farmsteads and things that were part of a quarter that they they look at the soil map and they say it's all tillable, it all has the same soil value, it just isn't tilled. And they look at it as what it could be rather than what it is.
But, well,
So you can theoretically have a piece of land that is underwater that has a soil value that it corresponds to the property, the land next to it, and the NDSU will classify it as tillable land with that value. And I have a piece of property that just has that. There's 40 acres that has been underwater, been underwater for 100 years. And it still has the same value as the land sitting right next to it.
but the county doesn't tax you for the 40 acres.
It's included. When they went to the productivity scale, in essence, they do. Because it raises the value of the whole property. So that piece of property doesn't have a lower taxable value than a quarter right next to it that doesn't have the 40 acres missing. And there's a lot of
It
properties.
would have if you went to the equalization meeting and got that water removed.
We took those out.
Yep.
Understood, but the way when the productivity index came in, they put everything in and they put it onto the taxpayer to pull it back out.
Yep.
Yeah, because we took out rock piles.
Yep,
We took out right-of-ways, like you're saying.
Yep, and shelter
Easement.
belts, but
Yeah.
when this thing was done, none of that was taken out. They always put the burden on the taxpayer. You have to take it out individually, and if you don't, it's your own tough luck.
Well, it doesn't even matter if you do, because all it does is raise the overall, it raises taxes on everybody. So if we give you credit for your lake, everybody else is gonna make up for it, because NDSU is not gonna change the value of the county.
Very good. Very good, because because the state is not going to change the value of the county when it comes to their year-end equalization process. They're going to say no, your county is not worth less. It can't be worth less because the surrounding counties aren't, and they will make us the same as they always do. They'll say, okay, you're at 82%. Now you have to go to 90%.
So the bureaucracy over there that funds that bureaucracy, hires that bureaucracy to give them a number so they can raise our taxes.
But beat up on maybe a softer, gentle approach will work.
Yeah, because the guy at the NDSU wasn't able to see exactly when this figure was last updated, or whether it's just been for the last 10 years, whether it's just been.
So if you send that number in this year that you're talking about, then he'll use it next year?
We don't know.
Well, if it got approved, I guess.
It would be.
Because I think I have to submit some figures to NDSU by the 15th, and then
When he's going to submit these figures, and then they're going to talk to the state, and then he's going to be under investigation
I'm sure.
because you can't do that.
Well, Ron's been through this with the. Remember, there used to be two guys at NDSU.
That Ockery, he
Ron kept
retired.
asking him questions, so one retired and the other one called Troy for help. And that's the truth.
That was that Ron Hogan.
Yep. Yeah, he cried uncle. Nope, that's a good idea.
okay, well, it's good. Good to. I'm still very very new in the position, so I don't know all the history behind it. So
Well,
it's
no,
good.
Give him
it's-
questions.
it didn't get it. Very good questions. I can only speak for myself, but I'm in this position to lower people's taxes, not raise them. And anything that, and I believe that it's a battle against the bureaucracies to keep raising valuations, and there has to be some mediating factor to that. I mean, we had raised land values this year again, or stayed the same, when everybody knows, in practice, land values aren't worth what they were last year or the year before. So, when the obvious is when land is selling for 60% of what it was 2 years ago, but the taxable value stays the same, there's something wrong.
See, they got themselves in a pickle in the 90s because it was the same thing that were in the 80s because we had it inflated. And then it took so long to raise it. They raised them 10% or whatever, like they said in a year,
Why though?
because they can.
No, well, it hasn't been to the Supreme Court yet, but remember, property tax stops at the county level. There's no authority for property tax levy past that. And, well, we'll talk to her blue in the face. But anyway, in my way of thinking, there has to be some kind of buffer against this constant rise in property valuations, and the state will say property valuations do not equate to more taxes, but we know they do, because we have fixed mill levies. But also,
Even if you don't.
even if you don't, if I go and I raise your valuation, that raises your taxes, because we can't adjust your mill levy specific to you. So anytime you raise someone's valuation, you're effectively raising their taxes. And I'm not gonna be on board with that.
You know, one time I think they went through, and Griggs County was the most, what do you wanna say, diverse county of soil
I was gonna
types.
say corrupt.
In North Dakota, with the most different soil types. And
Yeah, looking at the printout report from the Dakota programs, and yeah, there's a long list of.
But property tax has always been a nightmare. If you look back at the old plot books and that sort of thing, you can just about pick who was on the township boards at the time when they started evaluating. Just be glad you don't have to go count chickens and have personal property tax like they did back in the cows and chickens, all that wonderful stuff.
So, I'm all on board as long as you're trying to lower people's taxes.
Trying to be accurate, trying to be consistent with how things are reported. Yeah, because there's, unless something's entered wrong on Dakota programs, I don't know.
How do they treat Devil's Lake?
Well, I'm not certain, because there is, when you're submitting the acreage, there's lines for cropland non-inundated and inundated. And then non-cropland. But I think there's like some.
But are they doing the same thing up in that Devil's Lake country and saying, I'm sorry, this is the number they gave us years and years ago, and even though you have 10,000 acres underwater, just by the lake.
10,000? It's 110,000.
Yeah, whatever it is. 10,000 a foot, isn't it, they lose, or something like that?
So then you understand the modifiers also, as Griggs County put them in place.
Starting to. We're still learning. I know I need to submit that list of modifiers to you guys sometime in either the end of the month or December, and then I submit those to the state and we get approved by February 1st, I think. But I don't know, I'll have to look into it. For the inundated, I don't know if there's some formal paperwork that you have to submit for something to be considered. It has to be underwater for so many years, and you have to do something to prove that it's inundated, and then it would show up on there. But I don't see anything from the Dakota programs that show, because and on here too, that there hasn't been anything that shows up or that's been used as inundated for Griggs. I don't know whether within the Dakota programs software on the different parcels, how I would get a number of inundated acres for Griggs.
You know, that process has to start with the land, the taxpayer. It can't come, it should be able to come from the top down, but it can't. It has to start with the taxpayer coming to the township.
Equalization meeting.
Yeah, well, first the assessor.
Yeah.
And then the equalization meeting, and then through the process to the county, and then if no satisfaction to the state, but we all know it doesn't ever work that way, but that is the process.
Okay.
It would be nice if you could go through and say, yes, this is inundated, this is inundated, this is inundated, but without doing a county-wide or a township-wide reassessment, you can't, because you would be showing either preference or deference to one person, right? Yep.
Well, maybe depending on how close a communication I have with different townships, if that's maybe something I can get the.
Well, I'm sure some of the townships have done that to a large degree.
Yeah, and then you would.
The only one would be like if things change, like Devil's Lake came up over a period of 15 years. But those guys up there, I know that as the lake came up, those acres went off the tax rolls as inundated. But I don't know how it affected the overall taxable value of the county. I don't know if the state took that into account or not.
Right.
That you'd have to be pretty close to the process to know if that happened. But then now after, it would be hard to see that even in looking at their overall taxable values, even if you went and looked at their mill sheet, because now there's so much commercial property and residential property up there that I'm sure that's changed the complexion of the whole thing again. So it'd be hard to sort that out.
But I don't think these were necessarily inundated acres. I think these were acres that were just lumped in and were forgot. The process didn't take place for them to take them out when they switched over to this, the new form of assessment. And that's how they did all of it. They just threw it all in. Okay, these soil types are this value. And if you have a shelter belt in there or you have whatever you might have, it's your job to come in and tell us that we have to take it out. Otherwise, we're going to tax you for it. I think that's where the discrepancy in the acres will show up. And yes, some of them might be underwater, some of them might be a shelter belt, some of them might be all kinds of different things.
See, it's constantly changing. They were telling us that if you had a slough and it was in CRP, it was still productive.
And remember, we pay tax to the middle of the road. You can't farm in the middle of the
That's right.
road. So a bunch of that acres is going to be in that,
Yep, you can
included
get
in that also. So,
Okay. Well, there's not a commissioner meeting before I have to submit the figures, but I'm going to try and get an idea of, well, if I were to submit these numbers, what sort of impact that has on the values on the cropland.
yep, it will.
And I'll send out an email to you guys.
Well, yeah, and I wouldn't spend a lot of time on it if they're not going to let us do the changing, if they're not going to use the numbers.
Well, they might
So-
use them.
Huh?
I want to see if they use them.
I know.
So it will, yeah.
Give a copy to Don, take us on.
It will reduce the valuation, the agricultural land valuation overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, because well, the rough figures was, well, I think it was, eggland or the cropland right now is about, I think, 887 per acre.
Mm-hmm.
The non-cropland is 141. And so if you take that acre, switch those acreage around, it's about a total change of like the full value of like 37 million.
Mm-hmm.
So
The state likes to tout that by raising valuations, you don't raise taxes. They don't like the fact that this can be used the same way. By lowering valuations, we shouldn't reduce it. We should.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any effect either, but there is, of course, because now it throws off.
Doesn't
the
have an effect, it doesn't matter, does it?
No. No, I got that wrong. It's who it affects.
Thank you.
I'll give you guys more.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. That was encouraging.
Zon property cleanup. I drove by there yesterday. It's all cleaned up.
Still is. I drove by there.
Yeah.
The 30-day extension is over on Monday, so.
Had that strong north wind.
Yeah.
So you file a good deed and shred the one you got in your office, or what? Is that what the plan
We've
is?
filed the deed already.
You did? Okay.
Yep. But now I have a deed that was basically them deeding it back to the county.
Oh.
That now I can shred.
Sure.
I think you guys should make a motion and accept it. That they got it cleaned up and
Are they gonna do something with the trailer house too?
It's gone. That was part of the cleanup.
Oh, I thought the trailer house was there on Sunday.
It was supposed to be done.
Oh, I know, it's all cleaned up around it. I thought maybe the trailer house was still there.
The trailer house got rolled up in a ball and put in a.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
wonderful.
there's just another junky one on the lot.
Another junky one? Maybe I didn't know.
Somebody lives in the one that you
No, that's the next one over.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that brown one.
Yeah, that's a occupied.
Yeah. Oh, I thought they cleaned that one up too. I didn't see any bikes or anything around there anymore.
Maybe they help.
Are you talking about the over there,
West end of town, right?
west end of town?
The other
I'm talking
the other
this
side.
Oh, no. This is down in the west end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
That-
they cleaned that other one up.
The junky
too.
one on the other end of town, this one over here in the trailer court, that's not Zon's. That's never had any issues with the taxes yet.
Oh,
But that was the same characters that lived there that lived in the one over here.
yep. That's why I
So that one's all cleaned up.
Now we just got a junkyard on each end of Cooperstown now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Do we
nice.
have anything to say
Out
about
of-
that, or we
out
got
of
out of
city
luck?
limits.
That's the city?
Yeah.
Good, I'm going there Monday.
So, I think, was that Tom Olson's stepkids or something that lived in that place, and they moved to Ariska, I think. And the city convinced Tom to clean all that junk up around that brown trailer house.
I think Larry Whitaker bought it.
Yeah, that's what I think too. He got it all cleaned up.
Larry Whitaker? Who's that?
Colleen's son. He was in my class.
Oh, a young guy. He works in town here?
Well, I don't know what he does. He came back after Queen passed away and was managing some of the properties. Queen had that house in Glenfield.
That was the he-she?
She. You got flip.
Yeah, Queen,
She.
Queen was,
He.
was formerly Brian Whitaker.
Now I'm up to speed. So.
Just got the right person, that's all.
So yeah, he has that property. But yeah, he lives back there.
I see. Okay. Since you drove by that property over there, you want to make a motion to approve the cleanup
I'll make a motion we approve the cleanup on the Zorn property.
and shred the reciprocal deed or whatever you want to call it?
Included.
Is there a second to the motion?
So moved.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Tax sales November 17th,
November 21st.
21st.
November 21st?
Correct.
What time?
10:30.
No, it was 10:30.
That's a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
You know,
Yep.
last meeting, you made the comment that the 10,000 that the city had on that property for cleanup wasn't really taxes, so they couldn't put that on there.
Don't know that. I don't think they can, but they do.
Is
I
it the
think if-
same way with their water bills and
I
that
think
sort
so.
of thing?
I think it is.
They really shouldn't be able to put those.
I think they should really go through a judgment process,
That's,
but I don't, I'm not,
Can we assess this a special assessment?
can it?
Mm-hmm. They do that with like lawns that they let get this high. If they mow it, they can throw it
Right,
away.
it statutorily can be, I don't have the statute in front of me, but. I
Okay,
can
so they
research
can
it.
do that, okay.
okay.
Anyway, be that as it may, I think, I don't know, we're off agenda here, but we need to have two deeds ready for those two properties, because they're not gonna sell, and we just need to deed them to the city and let them take care of it.
Okay.
Because they can't have the ability to set the minimum and then make us own it.
Right. No, I think that they should, I think that they should own it. They're the ones that can do the planning and do the development of it, or find someone to
So-
help it. So they're better suited to own that property than the county is.
We should have done it with that first one last year. I don't know why we sat on that. That was not the right thing to do.
And I think from now on, just remember to do it, that I think that's what every county does, is if you're in Nelson, if you're in Nelson County, it goes to the city. And they, if the buildings haven't been torn down, the city tears down the buildings.
New courthouse, old courthouse?
Old courthouse,
Old courthouse.
Old courthouse. The heating system isn't up and running yet. Brian's gonna get it up and running, and we don't need any coal. He said we've got about 6-7 tons of coal in there. Gonna get that up, start the boiler up. He put some antifreeze in the system already, shut the water off. He's gonna run the system.
heating system for a couple weeks, test the antifreeze. Hopefully that'll take in all the air out of the system. Test the antifreeze. If it's not down to 40 below, then he'll put more in there, and then we should be able to, if it's our desire, turn the heat off. So that'll be the next meeting anyway. But that's what he was.
So
That
that
was the plan.
circulation to get those dead end things all mixed up and everything.
Hopefully.
Right?
He drained part of it down.
So we could put antifreeze in.
Right.
You were saying the reason that we can't tear it down is because of the State Historical Society?
Federal statute.
Well, the grant was taken contingent on not tearing down the historical site. Through the State Historical Society, National Registry of Historic Places. Arcade demolition of the building. In which they probably would if they would get the okay from the historical society.
But the Historical Society had to sign off on the building of the new courthouse because it was adjacent to the historical structure, and the only way they would do that is with the stipulation that it wouldn't be torn down. And then after that point,
And they were going to build it on the other side.
they were going to build it on the north side. to
They
start
made
with.
them. They wouldn't let them build the new courthouse in front of the old courthouse. They had to build it in the back.
In
That's
the
why
back.
it's so squished in this little lot.
And then save it. And then the federal grant was contingent on sign off by any historical that might have jurisdiction over it, and they wouldn't sign off. So the federal grant is contingent on us keeping the courthouse. We can't let it deteriorate because of neglect, demolition by neglect they call it. If we do, the county has to pay back the federal $1 million free money grant. So there we stand. So there's been a lot of correspondence back and forth between the old commissioners when they were still in office trying to get this changed, and it was denied. And I
Well, we communicated with them.
and then we tried to bring it up too, and no. So FEMA and the feds say, and the state say, no, you can't do it unless you get permission from the state. And the state says, no, we told you when you went ahead with this what we wanted done. And there you sit.
I wonder if Merlin Pomeroy's still in charge of the State Historical Society.
The way it sounded in the paperwork that went back and forth, that it wasn't really a subjective decision. It was based on what had been done, and here's the guidelines, and here's how you have to go forward. It didn't seem like it was a subjective board decision, did it?
No, it was that opinion pretty much stated that we took the money and it was contingent on keeping the courthouse.
Yeah,
in virtually unoperated condition.
and that was a legal opinion by the state,
That was
as in general.
yeah.
So I don't know.
We have a museum meeting on Tuesday. And I'll bring it up to them and see what they wish to do with the courthouse at some point in time.
Think they'd take this building?
I doubt it.
Trade.
Because they've spent so much money in the buildings they have down there already. I don't think they want to move all that stuff into this old courthouse. But
Well, it needs so much work too.
that's it.
Oof.
So, it's funny that the state would give you a grant to build a new building, and then what's supposed to happen to the old one?
Well, the state didn't give us the money. Feds.
The federal, but I mean, you know,
But they weren't pushing the new building. They gave us the option, and
Yeah.
the prior commissioners
I realize,
thought they could have the best of both worlds.
but, I mean, usually if they give you, if you say $1 million, they'd say, well, here, you take that $1 million, but you have to fix up the old building.
Well, they said you can't let it deteriorate.
What would be the point of giving you $1 million and having to build a new building and the old one just sits there?
They
$1 million.
should have just fixed it up to start
You're
with,
looking at
so
the wrong
it'd be
way.
sitting on the lawn.
You're looking
right
at it the
now.
wrong way. They said, here's $1 million, but here's what you have to do to get the $1 million. And the ex-county commissioner says, yes, we agree with that, we'll do it. So it wasn't,
Yeah.
it was totally the decision of the ex-commissioners, and for some reason, they thought they could get around that, and they couldn't. So how long does it take to burn up $1 million taking care of the, maintaining the old courthouse? So the money wasn't free by any means.
No.
So,
Take $10,000 a coal a year.
but without the prospect of being free money, this place never would have got built. It all hinged
Sure.
on that damn thing,
Sure.
which
100
turned out to
years.
be a lie.
100 years to burn $1 million of coal.
Well, I don't know
But
about
if
that.
that's all it is just coal, that'd be a small, but it's,
Well, it's in.
if we've got to take care of any windows that are broken in it that happen, or.
Destruction by neglect.
Eaves they're
You know?
getting,
There's a eave trough that needs to be.
there's eaves that are bad, the roof
Shingles are blowing
on
off
peak
and,
are starting to
Soffits
loosen
and
up.
the fascias are all rotten, and, I mean, it needs $250,000 right
Yep,
now.
it does. Yeah, that was, I don't think it'd be tuck pointed anymore. I think it'd be stucco, real good base for stucco, and you can do it for not all that much money. But that is something that's gonna have to be addressed.
Because on the east end where that eave or that downspout is off, that doesn't take long for that to take down a brick building.
No.
Pigeons gotta have somewhere to live.
No, but down low it's,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that freeze thaw cycle a few times and that'll loosen up all them bricks.
So yeah, at some time, and so Bob was gonna work on that, trying to get his permission, and no more Bob.
Maybe that should be on future business, DES.
I don't know, we've explored all the possibilities twice, I don't just know what to do.
But I think at least get a report from Bob and see what he's done. We don't know where he's at. Well, I kind of have an idea where he's at, but
I think he's in Bismarck.
I think it needs to come from
Well, like I say, I think the chances is we can start it at the local and say that if they feel that it has no historical value, affordable historical value. Otherwise, you tie it into what they have right now with the nuclear thing or whatever they want to call that, the site out here and over there.
Oscar Zero.
Oh, you mean
You
try to
know,
get,
make it a state thing.
try to get outside funding to try to,
Well, there is some funding available. I don't know now after budget cuts, but there is some grants available through the Historical Society. Not a lot, but
right,
if you have to do it, it's probably something.
well, we gotta do something.
We'd take more money and we just get deeper in.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
if
the
you
place
take
to
it from the
start is-
historical.
is
Society.
A letter from the
That's a group I think that's
saying
gonna
they
pursue
don't want
it.
to use it and they don't see any use for it from.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at. If the local historical society says there's no historical value of the building alone, that couldn't be taken by pictures and a few samples.
Hard to argue there's no historical value when it's been sitting here since the middle 1800s.
Well, I got a house in my yard at the farm that's been there since the early 1800s or in the late 1800s, and really has no value much of anymore.
Again, this is a no-win situation. You try to
Yes.
tear it down, and there's going to be an uproar. And if you keep it and spend money on it, there's going to be an uproar.
Yep.
Don't know what to do.
And maybe there'll be some unknown person that'll come along and say, here's $1 million to make it wonderful.
I'm thinking there will be.
Have you heard? There's 9 entities named in the two bachelors that lived up, but I don't even remember their name. Have you heard any of this? That the museum, the ambulance squad here, fire department, are all named in this estate. It's a $9 million estate. And they have no kids. And they gave it to the communities.
Where's this at?
It was up on I think these two bachelors farmed up by the line. They passed away last fall, I believe, and they had their sale.
Oh, Glimsdalls.
Yes.
Yep.
Sold the land this spring or something, or last spring.
Yep. Yep. Van Raden's bought some of it, and Dan Arneson bought a quarter.
And all this, anyway, it's all been donated to these 9 entities, I understand, in the communities. And
one of them was married, but she's dead too. But they got married really late in life. There's a nephew or something though. That nephew is living on the farmstead.
Dawn said she's going to do something really nice for Griggs County when that happens with John. She's going
A lot of people were hoping that happened.
But they're a mile into Nelson County.
Yeah, but that's, yeah, the hospital. Yeah, it was the hospital, the fire department, the museum.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
The move by John and we adjourn is our second to the motion. Seconded by Sean. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 10:03 on November the 3rd. Next meeting at 1 p.m. on November 17th.